Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about our top Metaverse picks. So top 5 Metaverse picks. If you like this kind of content, this crypto content, the good stuff, definitely like, subscribe, and comment on our channel. That way you can be up to date with all the news and research as it's coming out. But I need you to remember something. It's not financial advice. We don't accept any liabilities for losses that you may incur. And everything here is strictly an opinion. So with that in mind, you should be able to enjoy the subject of our video. There's been so much hype in the metaverse and there's so much going on and it's hard to keep up with a lot of it. Facebook is rebranding as Meta and there's just so much. It's just so much. How do you keep up with it? Well, you start by following this channel. So today I'm going to give you my top picks of the metaverse and I'm going to start with number 1 being Luxo. You know, we've been heavy on Luxo in this channel. We believe in it deeply. I think that it's going to be the blockchain that hosts the metaverse with NFT 2.0 and basically a finished version of Ethereum 2.0. So when you're looking at Ethereum's current issues with scaling, Luxo seems to be the current solution, better than any layer 2 solution, and it's already designed and prepped for metaverse applications like universal profiles and, disrupting the social media giants by allowing, smaller entities to be able to get paid in a decentralized manner. It's pretty awesome. So with something like that, I could definitely see Luxo being my number 1 pick for the metaverse, simply because I genuinely believe that it's going to be the glue that holds the metaverse together. So as much as their metaverse is a concept and a theory in Ethereum right now, I think it'll only come into fruition once it's being built on Luxo, or when Luxo takes over that aspect of, let's say, the crypto world. Luxo is banking number 1, and if you want to know more reasons why, you should definitely check out our other videos on this channel as to why Luxo is ranked number 1 on pretty much most of our lists. Number 2, Bolzon. Bolzon protocol. You saw in our previous video that we were talking about more or less that Bolzon was going to be applying, basically creating a digital or a d-commerce. So instead of an e-commerce, a decentralized e-commerce platform that allows you to convert NFTs into real world goods. So it's like, imagine you go into the metaverse, you see what you like, you pick it, you buy it, and then it's sent to your door. So without you having to go and actually drive there and, waste this, and it's just less wasteful. And also, after we saw with COVID, something like that kind of would be kind of cool to be able to go Christmas shopping in a virtual mall and see people, especially if there's isolation and things like that going on. Now, that's not the only reason why I put Bolzon high up on this list. I also put it high up on the list because I have a theory that when they bought that $1 million suit from Dolce & Gabbana, I'm pretty sure Luxo, because they have so many fashion partnerships, I wouldn't be surprised if Dolce & Gabbana was already on the Luxo partnership list. And the fact that Bolzon already bought one of their NFT suits means that there could be a correlation between the two. So I wouldn't be surprised if Luxo designs all these NFTs and designs all that, and then Bolzon becomes the protocol that allows us to purchase it through the metaverse. So I could see Bolzon being a really good application when added to other metaverses and other applications within it. So that's one of the reasons why I put it as number 2, because of how small the market cap is, and the supply is still really small with not a lot more tokens to be released. There's only a quarter of the tokens in circulation right now. And personally, the way I see it is the market cap is still very small to what it could or should be within the future, let's say 5 or 10 years to come, if it succeeds at what it's doing. So, like I said, Bolzon's our number 2. Our number 3 is Blocktopia. Now, Blocktopia took a big dump, and that's fine because they added a lot of tokens to the circulating supply, and they mentioned they were going to do it. So anyone who was in the channel watching it, this isn't a pump and dump. It was something that they mentioned in the Telegram for a while, that they were going to add more tokens to the supply, because when the price spiked up, it was because they were doing whitelisted land sales. And every time someone buys land, the tokens are burnt from the supply. So when they're burnt, they're gone. So the reason they have such a high supply is because if everything is going for 1 million block or 500,000 block, so like that's a lot of block tokens. If it buys or sells, that's a burnt token. So that means that it's only natural that the price is going to fly upwards because the tokenomics is designed in a way that allows for it to have a max supply because it's constantly burning. Now, the other reason too why I put Blocktopia high on the list is because it still has a pretty small market cap. It's under $1 billion compared to, let's say, Sand or Decentraland, which is bigger. I'm actually not even sure if Sand is bigger. We'll get to that afterwards. But Blocktopia still has a lot of room to grow. I like the way the metaverse looks. It gives me like a cyberpunk kind of feel, and I could see a lot of things like Binance and KuCoin. They actually set up an office in their metaverse, so that should give you an idea that if two major exchanges are getting behind it, it's probably not a pump and dump. It could be an elaborate one, but it's very, very unlikely. And especially compared to other crypto projects, I personally think this one earned the spot in the top list. So that's my opinion of Block right now. And if you want to know more about it, you should definitely check up our other video on it. We have quite a few. Next one is Decentraland. Now, Decentraland, it flew over the last month, like took off. Basically did like 4x overnight, or not overnight, but within a very short amount of time. And that, for me, tells me right there that you see the volume candles here that I'm going over here. That's volume. That means someone bought that. Someone bought that. That means that some whale decided that Decentraland's happening. And if it wasn't a whale, it was a company. Very likely to be a company. I wouldn't be surprised. And they just bought a shit ton of fucking mana. So that should give you an idea that their metaverse is popping. But for me, I'm not even so bullish just about the token. Oh, and I should probably elaborate too. Luxo, Bolzon, and Blocktopia, I'm bullish. Oh, Luxo and Bolzon, I'm bullish about the tokens especially, but also their applications. Blocktopia, I'm bullish on the token, and I'm also bullish on the land. I personally think the land will be valuable in the future. Decentraland, especially after a big move like this, I don't know if I would necessarily buy the token to have the token, but I would definitely buy the land. One of my biggest regrets in the last month was that I rode a lot of my crypto gains upwards, and one of my team members, he mentioned he wanted to buy land, and we were talking about buying land for the fund to have an anti-hedge club in Decentraland, and we were planning on buying an estate for around, at the time, about 10,000 US, and the issue was that we did not move fast enough on it, and we missed this. Basically, we hit this pump, and that same piece of land now is going for about 50,000. So currently out of reach, and for me, I kind of regret it, but at the same time too, it makes me solidify that Decentraland property is a solid play. So to anyone who's like, I want to get into VR land, and you have the money to pick a project that's already set itself as a leader, plus it's the first mover, by the way, it's one of the first movers, Decentraland would be a decent place to get land. From there, I would say buy an estate. That would be your best bet. And all that to say also is that Decentraland's already tied in with Bolzon. So Bolzon owns a big spot in Decentraland, and I could see already that could be cross partnerships. So that's my opinion on that. Then Sandbox. Not that I'm not bullish on the token, and by the way, the market cap's pretty big. Even on Decentraland, it's about 5 billion, and on Sandbox, it's about 2.25. But even at that, the market cap flew on this token over the last month, and look at that big move. Now this right here, like the same idea for Decentraland, I'm not to say I'm not bullish on the token. It could still grow. Like there's still room probably for growth. But I think the best play in the Sandbox metaverse is to buy land. I think right now land is the play to be making, because there's not a lot of pieces of land. You know, the tokens, there's quite a few tokens. But at the end of the day, all these tokens are going to be used to buy land anyway, right? Or to play on their metaverse. So I feel like land could generate you tokens, but tokens can't necessarily generate you tokens unless you're staking them or you're doing something with them in the metaverse. So if you have a lot of sand or a lot of mana, land might be the place to park it and generate more of it. So that more or less wraps up. Oh, and I guess I'll give you a sneak peek on one of the other ones that I'm looking into. It's another metaverse thing. I'll give it as a wild card. Hold on. So, here you go. Hold on. Nakamoto Games. All right. So, this right here, this is another metaverse token. It's called Nakamoto Games. It's the wild card that I'm giving you guys. This is something that's been floating in my channel for a little while. But I figure I'll give you guys a heads up to look into it. Obviously not financial advice because it's still very new. It's self-reported data. Hasn't been confirmed yet. But look at that market cap. $19 million in it. Tiny, tiny, tiny. And look at the supply. $6 million. Volume, roughly about $8 million. So it has almost half the volume, half of its market cap in volume, on a 6 million supply. So it's very tiny. And what they're doing basically is they're creating like metaverse games. And one of the things they're doing is something similar to a Duck Hunter. So I don't know if you guys remember Duck Hunter. It was an old game back in the day. And they want to make it so that the tokens are used to buy basically bullets for the Duck Hunter. So you go into the metaverse, you buy your NFT gun and you buy your NFT bullets, and you basically go and you hunt shit in the metaverse. Now, I don't know how big that could get in terms of market cap, but I definitely could see a potential price swing on this just because it's a cool idea. And that's not the only thing it's doing. It's doing other games, but we'll get into that in a separate video focused solely on that to cover it, because I think I've covered most of the tokens on this except for maybe Decentraland, Sandbox, and this. But I've covered the other three and a bunch of other tokens. So I'll make it a point to cover this one in a separate video, so that way you guys can get the full scope as to why I decided to look into this project a little bit more. And that more or less wraps up my top 5 metaverse picks with your wild card. So if you like this kind of content, definitely like and subscribe. Check out more stuff on our channel because there's always stuff to learn. And like I mentioned in the last videos, the Patreon's coming, more good stuff to come. We're keeping it hush hush because we have big plans coming for this. Stay tuned.